Today we are going to talk about the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It was around 11 p.m. Abhay was sitting alone in his small room, endlessly scrolling on his mobile screen. Just like every other day, he told himself, "From tomorrow, everything will change. I'll join the gym, I'll eat healthy, I'll start working on my dream startup." But just like every other day, all of it remained only in his thoughts. Abhay was not an extraordinary person. He belonged to a normal middle-class family and simply wanted to do something big in life. But one thought always troubled him. Life is so big, there is so much to change. Where do I even start? And because of this confusion, he never started anything at all. One day, his friend Nikhil gave him a book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. At first, Abhay thought it was just another typical motivational book filled with cliches like believe in yourself and never give up. But as he started reading, he realized this book was different. It talked about the power of small changes, changes so tiny that they seem insignificant, but when repeated daily, they slowly turn into massive success. The very first concept was atomic habits, extremely small habits that are easy to ignore, but if practiced daily, their impact becomes huge. This idea deeply resonated with Abhay. He decided to experiment. This time, not perfection, only consistency. The next morning, he didn't set any big goals. He simply decided that every morning he would do 5 minutes of stretching. No gym, no hardcore routine, just 5 minutes. The first day felt awkward, but he told himself, it's just 5 minutes. After that, I can do whatever I want. And he did it. Slowly, those 5 minutes turned into 10. Then he thought, now that my body feels active, why not start the day by reading something good? He added a habit of reading for 10 minutes every morning. At first, he laughed at himself for taking such small steps, but then he remembered a line from James Clear. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just like money grows slowly through interest, habits compound over time. Abhay understood that these small 10-minute changes would one day turn him into the person he wanted to become. 1 month passed and he didn't skip his small habits even once. His mindset slowly began to change. Earlier, he believed change had to be massive to matter. Now he knew that the real power lies in consistency, not intensity. Then he made another change. He stopped using his phone before sleeping. Instead, he kept a notebook by his bed. Every night, he wrote down 3 small goals for the next day. A 10-minute walk, 1 extra glass of water, thinking of 1 new idea for his startup. Slowly, his confidence started growing. Things that once felt impossible now felt manageable because he had broken them into small pieces. During a family wedding, his entire routine got disturbed. Earlier, this would have been the perfect excuse to quit. But this time, Abhay was different. Even in chaos, he didn't skip his 2-minute habit. He reminded himself of one rule: miss once, but never miss twice. 1 missed day is okay. 2 missed days can destroy a habit. Abhay's life wasn't perfectly organized, but it was intentional. He reduced social media usage and started tracking screen time. He didn't change everything at once. Every week he added just 1 small habit and maintained the old ones. After a few months, his friends were shocked. "Bro, you've completely changed," one of them said. Abhay smiled and replied, "Nothing special. I'm just trying to get 1% better every day." They thought he was joking, but that's exactly what he was doing. He also quit one old habit, negative self-talk. Earlier, he used to think, I can't do this, I am lazy, I am not disciplined. Now, whenever such thoughts appeared, he asked himself one question: can I be 1% better today? If the answer was yes, he took one small step. His startup idea slowly began taking shape. He started market research, tested on a small scale, and within 3 months, he got his first few clients. He was shocked that such simple steps could create such big results. One day, he wrote a quote on his wall: "Success is not a goal, it's a system, and systems are built with habits." Now he didn't feel the pressure to achieve something big every day. He just had to follow his system, and he trusted that the system would eventually take him where he wanted to go. The biggest lesson he learned was this: Change doesn't require motivation, it requires clarity and consistency. If someone asked him how his life changed, he replied, "Nothing changed in a single day, but something changed every day." That is the power of atomic habits, small changes that seem insignificant but combine over time to create massive transformation. Those who want to change everything overnight often never start, but those who start with 2 minutes can one day reach 2 hours. Abhay is still not perfect, and maybe he never will be, but he doesn't need perfection anymore. He only needs progress, every day, every week, every month, and that is the real story of change. Identity, discipline, and consistency. It was a cold winter morning. The fog was so dense that nothing was visible outside the window. Abhay was sitting on his balcony with a cup of hot tea in his hands. His mobile phone was with him, but for the first time, he wasn't scrolling. He was thinking about where he had reached and where he still wanted to go. Over the past few months, he had seen himself change in many ways, but now he was struggling with a deeper question. Who am I becoming? Abhay slowly realized that setting goals alone was not enough. Goals like, I want to lose 10 kilos, I want to become a successful businessman. These are outcome-based goals, but real transformation begins when we ask a different question. Who do I want to become? He started working seriously on his startup. A few clients had already joined, but one day he received very harsh feedback from a client. The client clearly said, "Your work looks immature, it lacks a professional touch." The old Abhay would have been demotivated and quit, but this time he asked himself a new question. If I want to become a responsible entrepreneur, how would I deal with this feedback? This was identity-based thinking. He stopped worrying about the outcome and focused on alignment with who he wanted to become. He asked himself, am I the kind of person who runs away from problems or the kind who learns from them? From the next day, he began redefining his identity. Now every habit was not about achieving a goal, it was about becoming a better person. He started telling himself, I am someone who learns something new every day. So he built a habit of reading or learning for 15 minutes daily. He didn't think, I must finish this book in 1 month. He thought, a reader reads every day. One day, he told himself, I am a disciplined person. And with that thought, he started making his bed every morning. It wasn't a big task, but it sent a signal to his subconscious mind. I am someone who takes care of his surroundings. Slowly, his thinking started to change. Now when someone said, bro, you wake up so early these days, he smiled and replied, because I want to become an early riser. His habits were no longer driven by outcomes, they were driven by identity. One day, his friend Rahul asked, how do you stay so consistent? I can't stick to any habit. Abhay smiled and replied, because I am not building habits, I am rebuilding myself. Rahul looked confused. Abhay explained, when someone says, I am a smoker trying to quit, they still identify as a smoker. But when someone says, I am a non-smoker, their identity changes and their actions follow. Rahul went silent. For the first time, he saw habits and identity as deeply connected. Abhay began behaving like an entrepreneur, even though his startup was still small. He changed his language. Instead of saying, I'm just trying something small, he started saying, my business. This small shift dramatically boosted his confidence. He began maintaining a diary where he asked himself every day, what did I do today that brought me closer to the person I want to become? Sometimes the answer was, I listened to my client patiently without being defensive. Sometimes I put my phone aside and did 1 hour of deep work. Sometimes I was distracted today, but I'll do better tomorrow. He stayed honest. Slowly, self-reflection became a habit. He stopped fighting himself and started understanding himself. The inner transformation began reflecting outward. His body language became confident. He improved his dressing, not to impress others, but to stay aligned with his identity. He thought, I am disciplined, presentable, and respectful. I should look like that too. He followed a simple rule. Before doing anything, he asked himself, is this something the person I want to become would do? If he felt like scrolling late at night, he asked, would this a focused and responsible person do this? If the answer was no, he put the phone down and went to sleep. All these changes were small, but they reinforced his identity. If someone only wants to lose weight, they may return to old habits once the weight is gone. But if someone sees themselves as a fit person, they will always prioritize health. Abhay applied this principle everywhere. Now he told himself, I am someone who honors commitments. I am someone who learns something valuable every day. I am someone who enjoys discipline. His identity itself became his habit. He learnt that focusing only on results brings short-term happiness, but upgrading identity creates lifelong change. Every morning, Abhay didn't start his day with a checklist. He started it with one thought. Today I will live like the person I am trying to become. And that mindset became his greatest strength. Because when identity drives habits, motivation becomes unnecessary. You simply live as if you already are that person. Final scene. It was around 9 p.m. Abhay was sitting in his small office, flipping through old pages of his notebook.